What's going on, everyone? I just got the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I want to give you some of my first impressions on the photo and video aspects of this phone. It's pretty impressive. Let's get to it. What's going on, everyone? I'm Kellan Reck, and today we're talking about the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I just got this phone and already I'm absolutely blown away. The image quality is unbelievable. Now, I was using an iPhone 8 Plus before and I had this for a number of years, really liked it, but now that I have the Pro Max here, oh boy, are things looking nice. So to start with the size of the phone, it's pretty much the same exact physical size as the 8 Plus. However, the screen difference is massive. The screen on this iPhone 12 Pro Max is huge. You get so much more real estate than you would get on the 8 Plus or some of the smaller phones. I really love that. You can get a lot of things going on the screen. That's great. But let's talk about cameras. So I went for a walk with one of my friends the other day to give this camera a test, and wow, were the shots great. Take a look at one of these. You can see how smooth, how crisp, how well lit. It really captures everything you want from a camera, and it's just right there in your phone. So let's look into this a little more. We'll break down video and photo. Let's actually start with photo. So we've got 3 different lenses on the back of the phone. So there's 3 options when you're shooting with your camera for various focal lengths. First, you've got the super wide shot. This is equivalent to a 13mm lens. So extremely wide lens, and it looks really awesome. It has kind of this epic feel to it because the shot is so wide. A really, really nice choice that I think I'm gonna be using all the time. Now, this 13mm lens opens up to f2.4, so gonna be working great in low light. Really nice to let in a lot of light. The exposure can really pop there. So that's a great, great thing to see on this phone. Then you've got your standard wide shot. This is the equivalent of a 26mm lens. What's nice about this is it opens up to f1.6. So in low light, this is gonna be absolutely fantastic. A really open aperture there. You can be letting in a ton of light. And also this camera has LiDAR detection along with a sensor stabilizer. So in low light night mode, which I'll talk about in a different video, these cameras, because they can open so much up and have the heavy stabilization, they can start to do long exposures, even handheld. So you're gonna get some really, really nice night shots on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. But again, we'll look at that a little bit later. The final camera choice on this is your telephoto, which is the equivalent of a 65mm lens. And that's gonna open up to f2.2. So all of these really have great open apertures that they can get. So everything's gonna be working really nicely in low light. Overall, when it came to photos using this phone, I thought the images were spectacular. I really, really loved the ultra wide angle. Now, this obviously was in the last generation of the iPhone, but I didn't have that, so it was nice to kind of get a chance to use that. Everything with portrait mode looks absolutely fantastic. This phone and Apple products are continually getting better with portrait mode. Because some of these lenses can open up so much, you can get a really, really nice blurry background using portrait mode. So that's a nice feature. Also on this phone, you can really dial in your settings really well. You can adjust your exposure, you can lock in your focus, you can change your white balance. So you can do a lot of things, which as a filmmaker, as a photographer, I like to have a lot more control, and that's all built in within the camera app now. So that's really, really great to have. So let's talk about my favorite part of this phone, the video modes. Now I'm just gonna read off some of the stats that we have here. We're talking 4K Dolby Vision HDR video at 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. That's up to 4K. So the video on this is unbelievable. I mean, some of these shots just look so good. You're also talking about incredible image stabilization on these cameras. So because you have that sensor stabilizer, lens stabilization, you're getting shots that are incredibly smooth at high resolution with really high quality video here. This is it's starting to become a cinema camera in your phone. It's really impressive. You're getting that HDR Dolby Vision. Basically, the video on this, you're gonna get really nice colors. Your highlights aren't gonna be super blown out. Your shadows aren't gonna be too dark. It's meshing this all together to give you an incredible, incredible video image. And Apple has mastered this technology. So really impressive. You can see in some of these shots here just how good this looks. You're getting really nice digital zoom on your video. You're also getting really nice slow-mo. My favorite feature of this phone, and this of course has been in previous generations of the iPhones, where you get 120 frames per second and 240 frames per second at 1080p. You get that in this phone too. You just have the choices of your various lenses. Really, really amazing quality on this. One of my favorite modes of this phone, you can do a subtle movement and you get this beautiful cinematic looking shot. You've also got your time-lapse mode, which does incredible stabilization for you, so you could set your camera down and shoot a time-lapse, or you could do a moving time-lapse where you get your hyperlapse. I have some of those here. The stabilization is top tier. There's also night mode in time-lapse, so you can get some really, really great night imagery. I haven't fully put that to the test yet, but we'll look at that later on in a nighttime video that tests this phone and the cameras there. Overall, I'm incredibly impressed. My first impression of the cameras on the iPhone 12 Pro Max are that it's unbelievable. I don't really feel like I need to walk around with a DSLR all the time. I can use this camera, feel really comfortable about how the shots look. There's always a little bit of extra sharpness in the photos and even in the videos compared to using a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, but that's something that I think Apple's slowly getting a little bit better with, and I don't mind it too much in most cases. Sometimes you get some banding in your slow-mo or some flashing, but that's just a shutter speed issue, so you could dial that in using this camera now. So that's a really great touch as well. So I really think that the cameras on this phone are absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to play around with it more, get some of those night shots, and report back to you guys. I give this camera and this phone a 10 out of 10 for sure. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, go ahead and subscribe. We'll check you back in the next one. Thanks, guys.